Well, today I'm joined by James McBain from Hellripper. Thank you for joining me.
Hello, and thank you very much for having me on here. Much appreciated.
Yeah, I've wanted you as a guest for a long, long, long time now, and I'm very happy that you've joined me for my last episode of the year.
I'm honored that you want to hear me talk shit, you know?
I talk shit too, so it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, for those who don't know who you are, which is not very many people listening to this, could you just explain a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I'm James. I play in Hellripper. It's a solo project. I guess I would describe it as black and speed metal, black and speed, black and thrash, metal punk, whatever you want. Yeah, that's about it really. Yeah.
Yeah, you're I've seen you guys twice now live.
hmm
Once at Incineration Fest in,
Yeah.
was it 22? And
Yeah.
yeah, Emperor there as well. What an
Yeah.
amazing festival. And then I saw you this year in Copenhagen supporting Midnight.
Yeah.
The energy you guys have at your shows is incredible. Like, I mean, the music itself is really like high energy and aggressive and like just gets you really pumped up. But I love the audience participation you do. Like people are coming up on stage and like
Yeah.
but they respect that, they're not messing around with you. They're just like jumping around and having a great time. And I loved it. It was a really good show.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's great when the audience are into it and they get involved and stuff. Yeah, I love it when yeah, we try and get loads of energy going on stage and hopefully that translates and the audience, have a lot of
Absolutely.
energy as well. And it's always fun. Yeah, the two shows that you mentioned there, Incineration was great. Of course, that was when the Bangers and Mosh guys were um with the
With
goat
the
masks. Yeah.
they were
Um
they were so they were so sweaty after that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. People get the goat mask and they don't realize how horrible they actually are. Like
Yeah.
they're so you can't see anything, especially in that like at a show and in that room. Like I think I spoke with Daz afterwards and he said like he couldn't see a thing,
Mm-mm.
like which yeah, it's horrible. Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
can imagine. But they were like, oh, we were hoping like he'd see us at the beginning and then we could take him off. But he
yeah,
only noticed us at the end of his set.
yeah. Like I say, the room was so dark and
Mm.
I was looking for them, and then it got to like the end of the set and I was like, yeah, it's this is all hail to go. We've got some guys here, and I looked around, I couldn't see them at all. And then eventually I just saw them like waving at the back, and I was like, oh, there they are. And then yeah, Dad, I think it was Dad came on stage.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I've got a great video of him doing some dad moves on stage
yeah,
with
he
goat mask
was
on.
he was the goat Bez for the day.
He was. That was
Yeah,
amazing.
that was great. And yeah, the other one, the midnight one in Copenhagen, was great as well. It was a really good fun.
It was. It was wicked. So basically today we're just going to be going through our top 10 albums of the year. I'll be going from like a 10 to 1 at the end. I don't know if you'll be doing the same.
But, I don't really have an order. I've just got a
No,
bunch of albums that I like.
that's totally cool. No, that's totally cool. Um, if you follow me on social media, you've been seeing that I've been posting my number 20 to 11 each
Yeah, yeah,
the week, and now I'm just going to be doing my top 10 for those who are interested. Some people are. So yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Always a good way to get recommendations and find
exactly.
out about
And
stuff you don't know and all that kind of stuff.
people listening, you might, we talk about some stuff today that you haven't listened to this year because this year's been mad for release,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
absolutely mental. So we hope you discover something awesome.
yeah.
Um, you can kick it off. Guests first.
Cool. I'm gonna go with. Should I start with my favorite one?
You can do that if you want.
Yeah, I'll start with my favorite one.
Mhm.
It's a bit I don't want to say biased, but it's a Gamma Bomb Bats.
Mhm.
Um, they've been one of my favorite bands um since I got into thrash metal, like whatever, 13 years ago or whatever. And yeah, we had the chance to tour with them and become friends with the guys and stuff. But I think their last two albums have been their best albums so far, which is crazy after however long they've been going, like 20 years or something. And yeah, their new album brings in loads of like unique stuff. They've got like like the Egyptian lover comes in and does like a rap part, and they've got like some saxophone, like,
Oh
but
wow.
but just not it doesn't like detract from the music. It's not like, it fits, which is great, and it works for Gamma Bomb. And yeah, their songs are just great. It's fast, speed, thrash, speed metal, whatever. Yeah, one of my favorite bands, and they've just improved over time, I think. And yeah, like I say, I don't want to. It is actually my favorite. It's not biased because we've toured with them or anything. Though it does help that they're actually really nice guys and not dickheads, you know.
Oh, that's awesome. See, I haven't heard that. I've been so drowned in death metal this year that I haven't really. I mean, a lot of my top 10 is death metal or death metal
Yeah,
adjacent, but I'm very interested in your music, and you like a lot of different stuff. So I'm gonna note all the ones that you're saying now, and I'm
yeah,
gonna go back and listen to it because I do like thrash and then like speed metal and stuff. So that sounds cool.
yeah. I would say most of mine's kind of border on that kind of
Hmm.
black thrash or uh, speed metal kind of thing.
Well,
Like you
that's
say, just because that's the stuff I'm into.
great. Hmm.
But yeah, I've got loads here. Like I've picked out like 10. I'll speak about, but yeah, I've got like a list of like 20 or 30 here that I could give a special mentions to at some point or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that'll be good because then people listening, you're gonna get a proper good mix of extreme metal today. So
Yeah.
that's great. Cool. Well, okay, so my number 10 is it came out in May. I'm not gonna say the release dates and like what labels they're on because let's
Yeah.
be honest, no one cares. But it's Blindfolded and Led into the Woods, the band, and the album is called Rejecting Obliteration.
Okay.
They're from New Zealand, and it's an album, and the theme of it, they're talking about navigating abuse and trauma and sort of learning to be resilient and coming through those kind of things. So it's a proper journey of an album, and it's melodic and it's brutal at the same time. It's really hard and heavy and really emotional at the same time. And I love that in music when they can be, when there's storytelling, but it's also really aggressive at the same time. I think
Yeah.
that's really hard to do well. And when I hear that, I fall in love with it instantly. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, my number 11 was your album, and I love the folklore and the storytelling
Thank
in
you very
that,
much.
the energy as well. And it's the same with this album. It's much heavier. It's like there's some sort of black metal vocals, some death metal vocals. It's a whole um mixture of just aggressive emotion. It's stunning. It's really, really good. Um so and this was very popular on metal Twitter. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a really good one for me.
Cool. Yeah, that's not, I don't think I've heard that one. Um, but yeah, that sounds cool.
It really is. So what's up next for you?
Um, I'm gonna give a shout out to a UK band, the recently formed Tail Gunner.
Hmm.
Um, kind of heavy metal, like kind of, traditional metal. Tail Gunner, Guns for Hire is the name of the album. Um, they're doing really well right now. Their album's good. I think the music is really cool. It's like a traditional heavy metal, old school style, but they're not afraid to inject like some new, a bit more modern influence, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's yeah, just really cool stuff. They've been doing really well recently. They're getting doing shows in Europe, and they're selling out shows in the UK and stuff like that. And um, yeah, they're like a really hardworking band from what I've seen and stuff. And yeah, they're doing well and deserve some success. I think that's their first album. Yeah, they released a few stuff beforehand, but like EPs and stuff. But yeah, I think they've only been a band for a couple of years or something.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, their new album is doing really really well, and yeah, hopefully that continues for them. Like, good on them.
Absolutely. I think I've heard this actually. And
Yeah,
yeah, it's very catchy from what I remember, and I love when like you said, they're a new band, and I like that they're getting success already. I mean, that
yeah.
just speaks about the quality of the music. So I think that's wicked.
Mhm.
That's a good pick. Yeah, so moving on to my number 9. It's if people know my music taste, you know that I love tech death. It's
Hmm.
my favorite. And this is the Zenith Passage with Data
Oh yeah.
Lithium. So fucking good. I mean, these guys, they know what they're doing so well. They've mastered their craft, and each band member is so technical in what they do. A lot of tech death bands, you find it's the drums that really lead it, and they're just super technical. But these guys, it's mad. It's so mad. And the way they describe themselves, I can't describe it better. This is a quote from them. If Necrophagist and Meshuggah had a baby, and I think that sums it up really fucking well because it's crafted, it's clean, and the production and the mastering and everything is it's crispy, but this it's still soulful. I feel like a lot of tech death can be quite clinical and like robotic, but this has got some emotion and soul in it, which I like. And yeah, and the album art it's stunning. I can't remember the artist, which is a shame, but that really grabbed me. And yeah, tech death is just fucking great. So yeah, that's my number 9.
Yeah, yeah, I'm a big fan of tech death, but like you say, like it's very for me. It can you've got to find the balance between
Mm,
the songs and the technicality. And
absolutely.
a lot of people, focus on the technicality, but yeah, I love tech death when it's done right.
Absolutely. We just need like Spawn of Possession to sort of reform. That would be
Oh yeah,
amazing.
that last Spawn of Possession album was ridiculous.
Mad
So
good.
good.
Yeah, really good.
Um, I'll go with Cloak Black Flame Eternal. Really killer. I guess black metal. I would describe it as kind of like a Watain Tribulation. I guess something like that. Kind of a couple of reference points. It's just riffs upon riffs upon riffs, and um, obviously, yeah. If anyone's heard Hellripper, you know that I do like a good riff.
You do.
So yeah, so yeah, when a band writes music this good with riffs this good, it's just great. I got into Cloak probably just after their last album came out, the Burning Dawn, and it was great. And I think this album is I would say a bit darker, a bit more. Um, I don't know about I don't know I don't want to say raw, but it's a bit it's just a bit darker, I would say. And like I say, riffs and good songs, catchy riffs. Really cool band from the US. Um, yeah, it's basically the kind of music that I like. Just yeah, don't want to repeat myself, but yeah, catchy riffs.
I mean, what more do you want, right? And yeah, like you said, your music. I think it was Jimmy from Bangers and Mash who said that you eat riffs for breakfast, and it's
Yeah,
true. Like Hellripper is just riffs. And this album you mentioned, I think I've seen it on a couple of other people's album of the year lists. So I think it's really quite popular actually.
yeah.
Well, my next pick, number 8, is death metal. Surprise, surprise. Um, and this is it's on Maggot Stomp, so you know it's just going to be like filth, right? It's Sentenced to Die with Parasitic Infection. Um, it ticks all your death metal boxes, like every single one. It's heavy, it's scary in some parts, in some way, and what I like in my death metal is you can hear each individual musician and what they're like
Yeah,
contributing. I'm not a fan of that super muddy production on death metal. That's not really I want to hear what's happening, and they're really good at this. Um, it really packs a punch, and his vocals, I can't remember the lead singer's name. Fuck. But his vocals are just on point. Because there was so much good death metal this year, it really it speaks that this stood out for me. Um, and I've listened to it a lot. So yeah, I think a lot of people listening to this will have heard this album because it did really well. But again, it just every single thing you want from death metal, it gives you but
Yeah.
it's just polished really fucking well and done really to a really high quality. Which is why it made my top 10.
Nice. So I've gone here because I've got my list up now and I've accidentally numbered them. Yeah, so I've got Necrofire here. Came out in the summer, I think. Burning Shadows in the Southern Night. It is black metal. People, it's again like I think all the things on this list, on my list, it's catchy above all. It's a bit more melodic. What I noticed is they've got a lot of new wave or traditional heavy metal influences on this. Like there's cool like guitar harmonies and those rhythms, you know, the kind of triplety rhythms you would hear like in Maiden or something. And yeah, I'm not a massive pure black metal fan. You know, usually I like when black metal's mixed with like thrash, speed, or
Me too. Yeah.
yeah, something like that. So yeah, this album, it's I would describe it, yeah, black metal, maybe I guess melodic black metal. I don't know. But yeah, above all, it's catchy and yeah, similar to um what I like about the Cloak album, it's songs, it's catchy, it's got riffs, you know. Yeah, there's like it's when there's a focus on guitars, I'm usually into it, you know, being a guitarist myself. So that's why I like riffs. That's why I like guitar based music, guitar focused songs, I guess. But yeah, Necrofire, their new album is killer. Yeah, and they've been on the up as well. I think they're a relatively new band. I'm not sure when they formed, but I think they might only have one album before this, I think. I'm not too sure. But yeah, this new one is really good. And yeah, they're doing well at the moment from it. Yeah.
Oh, I think I've listened to that one as well. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Next on my list, number 7. It's French. It's tech death. It's one of the giants of the tech death world because they just celebrated their 25th anniversary as a band. It's Gorod and their album The Orb. I can't tell you enough how much I love this. It's, I mean, French death metal in general. Gojira is my favorite band, so they
Yeah.
own that. But the French tech death here, like, it's your tech death, but it's got really, it's not that clinical tech death I talked about before. It's really like groovy, and there's jazz elements on this album. There's funk, and you know but it's also really brutal at the same time. And they're just masters in blending that into something really like coherent, and you know it's so listenable. Like a lot of tech death is quite overwhelming sometimes, but this you can play this. It's not it's not like assault on your senses. It's so well made. It's so yeah, it's really stunning. And like I said, they're 25-year-old band. Like they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They've mastered their sound. They've sort of condensed it into this just I know it's Gorod when I listen to something. It's like I know it's them.
Yeah.
And that's a sign of a really amazing band. So that's why it's my number 7 this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree that it's very difficult to um have your sound, you know, a recognizable sound, like when you just hear a riff or whatever, or a guitar tone or a vocal or whatever, and you know it's that band.
Yeah,
That's such a difficult thing to do, and it's when a band is great, you can recognize that, just
absolutely.
yeah. I'll go for Moonlight Sorcery.
Yeah.
This is not usually my kind of thing. Like this style, it's like symphonic black metal or something. And yeah, it's not usually my thing. And I put this on a couple months ago, and yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's so good. This might be one of my favorites as well, like up near the top. It's just like extreme guitar playing, solos everywhere, and double bass everywhere, and like it's like it's almost overwhelming. Just the sound is just ridiculous. The album's called Horned Lord of the Thorned Castle, which is just, I like, it sounds a bit over the top, and stuff like
It's very
that.
dramatic. It's great.
Yeah, and I like that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know what I'd compare it to, because like I say, I'm not a massive fan of that style in particular. Like, I don't listen to that style much, so there's probably better reference points and stuff, but I'd go for maybe a more black metal Children of Bodom. That's the kind of that's like my reference point for that kind of music. It's got the kind of crazy guitar playing, like sweet picking, and some neoclassical kind of influences and all that stuff. People more well versed in that genre will probably be like, oh, it doesn't sound anything like that, or it sounds like this. But just to me, who's not an expert in that style, it's just great. And if I can find other bands that sound like that and as good as that, please send them my way, anyone listening, because it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I've seen this on a few people's end of year lists as well. I think it might. I haven't personally listened to it, but I've heard from people who like that genre of music that it's really amazing. So, yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
pick. Yeah. Well, number 6 for me is a band called Nothingness with the album Superliminal. And I think it has to have the award for the most disgusting album art. Not, I think maybe disgusting is the wrong word, but the most weird album art of the year.
Excellent.
It's like, I don't know, I can't even describe it. It's like if you put a load of paint in your mouth, different colors, and then vomit it onto like a table, that's what's gonna come out. It's like bubbly and like multicolored and just like oozy. It's mad. But I think it fits the music quite well actually. So Nothingness, I'm pretty sure that they're on Everlasting Spew. And it's just this dissonant and groovy death metal. It's really special, and like it's got that slightly fuzzy production. It's not this super crystal clear. It's a bit fuzzy. It's a bit like old school death metal, but it's got this really atmospheric, dissonant vibe to it that I haven't really heard before. And it really stood out to me this year. And like I said, the album art is what grabbed me, and I was like, yuck, I need to hear that. But yeah, this is really amazing. So if you like your groovy sort of atmospheric death metal, then this is one for you to check out. Nothingness Superliminal is the album.
I always like when you can, like, discovering a new album by the album art. I always love that. I used to always go into like HMV and stuff like that and just pick out like, oh, this has got like a weird gruesome skeleton with an axe or whatever. I'm gonna buy this, when I'm like 15 or whatever, and I'm like, yes,
Hell
this is
yeah.
so brutal and stuff.
I used to spend all my Saturdays in HMV doing that exact thing. You could like test it, you could play like a couple of songs and like, or like looking for all the like disgusting posters, like that was the best thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a very visual person, so artwork really is what grabs me for an album. And you'll notice when I post my album of the year post that I'm always mentioning artwork because that is what attracts me initially. So yeah.
I'm a big fan of like artwork and visual stuff, but I've got no skill in executing it myself whatsoever. So I'm always, that's why like I'm so grateful for all the artists that I've worked with for Hellripper. Like I don't really give them any direction or anything because I've got no idea, and and obviously they that's what they do. So like I like to give them the kind of freedom to come up with stuff. I think that's when people do better, is like do their best stuff as well.
do you ask them just to like listen to a bit of the music, or do you just give them like a couple of like words or words to inspire them, or like what do you do?
Sometimes it really depends on when I'm asking for stuff.
Mm.
Sometimes I like have an idea at the very start, like of a process or something. And I'm like, here's a song title, go crazy. There you go. Sometimes the artist likes to listen to the music and get the lyrics and stuff. I kind of just do what they ask for, if they don't want anything, then it's fine. But usually, like if it's an album art or something like that, I'll give them the song titles that I have, the song title, the album title. Usually I won't even have lyrics by that point. So it's but yeah, it just really depends, I guess, on
Mm.
the artist, the situation, all that. But yeah, 99% of the time the person doing the art has been in charge of doing whatever.
Yeah,
So
I think
any
that's fair enough. Yeah.
yeah, anyone that like says like, oh, that's a cool design and like credits me for it, I'm like, yeah, it's not me whatsoever. It was all credit to whoever did it. Yeah, so I've gone for Dawn of the Axe by Cruel Force. Again, speed metal kind of thing. Um Anyone that knows Hellripper will know that I've been influenced by Cruel Force a lot, especially their first couple of albums, Under the Sign of the Moon and The Rise of Satanic Might. Especially The Rise of Satanic Might. I think that is maybe the best black speed, black thrash album of all time, or my favorite. I don't want to say the best, but it's one of my favorites. Um, just really cool stuff. They reformed this year after, I don't know, like 10 years or something. They haven't done anything. And they reformed, I think last year or something, or they reformed recently. Um, and their album Dawn of the Axe kind of took a little different direction. They kind of dropped the blackened elements, I would say, and they went more kind of normal speed metal, or like focused on the speed metal. I would compare it to a band like Vulture or something. Kind of old school production, reverb, rototom drums, yeah, kind of Paul Bailoff-y vocals type stuff, like reverbed and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, really cool. I know a lot of people were waiting for them to reform because yeah, their first albums were like very well regarded in that scene. And yeah, it was cool when they came back with this slightly different direction. I think it kind of took people a bit by surprise, and it took me by surprise a little bit. But yeah, they executed it amazingly. Really cool album. Really cool stuff. Yeah, Cruel Force, Dawn of the Axe.
Lovely stuff. Well, number 5 on my list is Scottish tech death.
Oh,
Yeah, from a band called Man Must Die.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
They're based in Glasgow, and the album is called The Pain Behind It All. It's just the album art is so striking. It's a guy with black paint over his head and his hands, and he's just holding his head in his hands. That's it. It's really simple, but it's so striking because it's so simple. Um, and the music, like you can just hear the pain, and it's literally just it's pain. It's if you like, it's if Gojira and Revocation had a child that made an album, it's this band. Some of the vocals are very Gojiri, there's sort of that mellow death influence, but it is technical at the
yeah,
same time. It's not your hard, fast technical death metal. It's your sort of more downbeat, sort of melodic technical death metal. It's stunning. And if you look at the lyrics on some of the songs as well, it's fucking heartbreaking. The title track, The Pain Behind It All. Oh my God, if you love Gojira like I do, you're gonna love this song. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful, and I love when tech death does that. It's emotional and it hits you, and I'd never heard of them before I heard this release.
Okay, yeah.
Um, and it just really hit me. So I love this. Man Must Die, the pain behind it all.
Yeah, that was the album that I was going to go on about a little while ago, that I mentioned the technical death, and then I got confused with my own numbering system. Uh, so yeah, really cool stuff. Really cool band. Uh, First album in quite a while, I think, like 10 years or something. Um,
Okay, that's maybe why I haven't really heard
I
it.
think. Yeah, but yeah, like you say, great album.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for another, yeah, kind of, yeah, black thrash album. In Coulter, Morbid Origin. Um, just really old school black thrash, I guess. I mean, I'm kind of, it's more thrash. But yeah, just kind of old school black thrash, just really chaotic. Kind of like your old but the old 80s kind of German thrash, I would say, just kind of bordering on out of control, really, yeah, just speed. But I've been a fan of these guys for quite a while. I think since their first EP. I don't know when that was. It was like, yeah, 10 years ago or something. I can't remember. But yeah, it was one of the bands I got into while discovering black thrash. They were new at the time. Um, and just a YouTube recommendation while I was listening to whatever, I don't know, encouraged me to check out their first EP. And then, yeah, they've released, I think it's 3 albums since then. And yeah, the new one is just, yeah, doesn't let up. It's just so good. If you're familiar with like the kind of more recent Norwegian kind of thrash scene, there's bands like Condor, Necromantheon, stuff like that, where it's just, balls to the wall kind of aggressive music. I would say it kind of falls in that category. But yeah, like I say, riffs always going to be a winner with me.
Understandable. That sounds good. What was it called again?
In Coulter, Morbid Origin.
Sweet. Well, that's going on my list. Awesome. Nice one. Well, I'm gonna say my top 5 albums, they all could have been my album of the year because I love them so much. They're all very different, but they're all very amazing in their own way. My number one album is purely because that's the one I've listened to the most. That's
Mm,
why I chose that. Um, so number 4 is just this genuinely blew my mind. They're teenagers essentially. It's a band called Tortured Demon. I mean, we were speaking
yeah,
about them the other day, right? The album's called Rise of the Lifeless. British thrash, I'm gonna say, but heavy thrash. It's not like your creator thrash. It's like heavy, just their songs are just anthemic. Like they've managed to pack so much fun and aggression into all their songs, and they're like 18 years old. It's
yeah,
insane. The title track, Rise of the Lifeless. If you don't want to go out and punch someone after listening to that, I don't know what's wrong with you. Like, if you're having a shit day, that's gonna hype you up, no matter what. It's um it's amazing. I really want to see them live. I bet their live shows absolutely smash. Um, it's just yeah, one of those albums that just really it's on repeat for me. So if you like your thrash adjacent, because I think it's not fair to call it just thrash metal. I think there's some heaviness in there too. And they're British, like
yeah.
just supporting that British scene. So yeah, Tortured Demon, Rise of the Lifeless. It is my number 4, and please go and listen to it because it's awesome.
Yeah, they've been doing really well as well. I think they supported like Evil
They
on a few
did, yeah.
shows. Yeah, I've been seeing their name around the place as well. Like, getting cool to see young bands and uh like bands from the UK like doing well, getting the name out there. playing with bigger bands and stuff like that. It's always cool to see.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, really cool. Where am I? I was gonna go with the latest Nervosa album.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which I think is really good. You've got Prika is the new vocalist. She's the guitarist. She's been just the guitarist for however all the other albums and stuff.
Yeah.
But on the new album, yeah, she came on to vocals. I think her vocals are amazing. And I think the songs to me are probably the best they've done, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, if you're not familiar with Nervosa, it's kind of like thrash. Yes, yeah, it's I don't want to say, straightforward thrash, but it's like thrash. That's how I would describe it, I
Yeah.
guess. And then you've got, some death metal and blackened influences there. But yeah, again, it's going to be me repeating myself a lot here, but it's the riffs, just riffs everywhere, and really cool stuff. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's just a good, catchy album.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite Nervosa release so far. I've listened to all the other ones. I'm a fan of all the other ones, but this one is, I think, just a step up. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a good pick as well. And her vocals are, yeah, they fit the music perfectly.
Yeah.
It's a really good fit on the vocals as well. Awesome. And don't be sad about saying everything's got riffs, because we love riffs. Riffs are life.
Yeah.
That's what we live for.
It's why I'm not a writer or whatever, because I've got nothing else to say other than like the riffs are sick. I'm uh like I see these reviews and stuff. I'm like, how have they managed to find all these words to describe things? I'm just like, wow, this is sick and catchy and has cool riffs. And that'd be my review for anything I liked, really.
I love that. You need to do like your own blog.
Yeah.
Amazing. Number 3 on my list is possibly the nerdiest, weirdest album you'll ever listen to. It's the band Parallax Occlusion with
Okay.
the album Vapor Chamber. So they have since disbanded. They released this and then thought, fuck that, and now they're not a band anymore. And I hate that, because I want them to make more music. This, like, describing it, I've been describing this to people and they're like, what the fuck are you on? Why do you like this? I'm like, listen to it, it's so good. The band is named after a 3D printing technique,
Okay.
and all their lyrics are about 3D printing techniques.
I
It's
feel like
so
this rings a bell to me. Like I feel like I've heard maybe it was you speaking about it or something.
It might have been, but it's the weirdest shit. And when I describe that, people are like, Faye, that sounds really fucking dull. I'm like, no, it's not, because it's tech death, but it's not. It's the production is so good and his vocals are amazing. And obviously, it's hard to understand what he's saying. So I looking at the lyrics. I always read lyrics in extreme metal, and then I'm like, oh wow, it's literally a step-by-step process of how to 3D print something. And like the coding that you need. It's mad. It's the nerdiest, weirdest shit, but it's edgy and it's just ferocious. Like, he makes this music sound so big, and you can't really understand what he's saying anyway. So if you didn't know what he was singing about or talking about, it's epic. And his vocals are just, yeah, they're just demonic, I'm gonna say. Like, he does it so well. But yeah, it's mad and it's nerdy, but it's number 3 on my list because I've listened to it so much, and it's just, if you like your tech death, then you're gonna love this.
Love it.
Yeah, it's mad, but it works.
I'm gonna go for another black thrash album, Grave Ripper.
Mm.
Really cool stuff. I think the album Seasons Dreaming Death. I think it's their first album. They kind of got a bit of buzz a while ago when their first EP came out. What was it called again? Radiated Remains. And that was a really good EP. Maybe 3 years ago. I'm awful with time and dates and stuff. But yeah, this is their first album, I believe. And yeah, like I say, black thrash riffs, catchy, just the usual descriptions of mine. But what is good here is like they've got like the songs are very distinct, you know. There's more black metal oriented songs, and then there's the more speed thrash oriented kind of songs, which I think helps in this style of music, you know. Playing it myself, it's difficult to make songs not just run into each other and sound like the same song for half an hour or whatever, in this style. So yeah, really cool that's a thing. And yeah, like I say, riffs catchy, ticks the very short checklist that I have for liking something.
That's great though. Yeah, awesome. I like that we have a good mix of genres in our lists. Like
Yeah,
it's not all one thing. Like I like that. Hopefully people are getting some good recommendations.
I hope so.
Um, okay, so number 2 on my list. Um, I've spoken a lot about this album. It's death metal, obviously. Um, and it's something I did a collab with Everlasting Spew earlier on in the year. And this was one of the prizes I was giving away that they sent me. It's the band is AOTY, and the album is At the Eye of Chaos. It is my favorite death metal album of the year. It's blackened death metal, very slightly blackened death metal. It's my idea of a perfect death metal album. I listened to this from start to finish, and there was nothing I didn't like. Production is clear. I can hear what each and every one of those musicians is playing. It's Morbid Angel on steroids. If you like the band Vader, you're gonna love this. His vocal style is very Vader-esque. They talk about history, the occult, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If you like Nile, you're gonna like them. They're just smashing it, and I think it's their debut album, and they've just knocked it out of the park. I don't know how they can improve. I'm really excited to hear more of their stuff because this literally is my idea of a perfect death metal album. The album art, oh God, I love album art, but I'm terrible at remembering artist names. He's a very distinctive artist who does those very sort of browny orange colored, very detailed, like I think it's the same artist who did the Revocation, Nether Heaven.
Oh, is that Paolo Girardi?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that might be him.
Yeah, I think I've got the wall flag of it somewhere. I think it's that because it's that very distinct. It's just eyeballs and skulls and like, oh, it's creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So yeah, I've wanged on about this all year. So this is probably not a surprise to people that it's number 2 on my list. But yeah, if you liked all the things I've just described, then absolutely go and check this out. Olkoth at the Eye of Chaos.
Cool. One here which I think this album had quite a bit of buzz at like at the start of the year, but I haven't heard much people talking about it. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's Arno Pavle. I think that's what yeah, whatever. The album is Transylvanian Glare. I think they're from Finland. I could be wrong. But yeah, this is not a style that I'm usually, a fan of. It's raw black metal, but it's more punk. It's like black and punk. It's like metal punk or whatever, black punk, whatever. Which is why I like it. There's loads of D-beat drumming and riffs, of course. And yeah, the production, yeah, it's just really raw, but not to the detriment. Not that you can't hear anything and that it's just a big buzzing noise. It's just really, it fits it well. it gives it a kind of, the production makes it kind of feel a bit, I don't want to say dangerous, but it sounds dark. It sounds evil just because of how raw it is and stuff. Yeah, it's like black punk. I saw a few people talking about this earlier this year, and I'd never heard of them before. I think the album came out like at the very start of the year, like January or February or something like that. And yeah, people were talking about like this is going to be an amazing underground release and stuff. So yeah, I checked it out at the time, and yeah, really cool stuff, really evil.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I don't think they have much other stuff. I don't know if they play live at all. I think they have one other album maybe. But yeah, I don't think there's much information. Or
How
when I
do you
look,
spell the band name?
it's ARNAUT
Okay.
PAVLE. Arnold Pavle. I don't know.
Okay.
Arnold Pavle. I don't know.
Yeah. People can find it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
really cool stuff. Yeah, one of my favorites, and yeah, if you like evil, raw, D-beat black metal, check that out.
Awesome. Um, well, number one, my album of the year. It's a band from Canada, and it's the most underground band on my list. They have like 118 Spotify followers. And I don't know why, because they make the most creative, unique, progressive death metal I've ever heard. I can't think of a band or that's doing what they're doing. The Metal Archives has no similar artists to them because no one's doing what they're doing. The band is Dissentient, and the
Okay.
album is Labyrinth. It's I can't I put down some words on my list because it's really hard to describe. Progressive death metal is an okay way of describing them. The
Yeah.
vocals are definitely death metal. The music is very 80s influenced. So think of like Stranger Things soundtrack
Okay.
with death metal on top. Sounds mad, but it works. There's a theme in my list. It's atmospheric. There's this instrumental track on there which I've listened to it daily since it got released. It's just stunning, and his vocals go with it. There's this sort of juxtaposition between this gnarly death metal vocal and this like synthy dark wave 80s metal music. It's mad, but they do it so fucking well. Um, it's like got this post-apocalyptic kind of dissonant feel to it. Like I feel like some of these tracks could be good on like a 28 Days Later kind of
Yeah.
film. And I love that. I love my like post-apocalyptic zombie shit. So when I heard this album, I was like, oh, I got goosebumps from it. It was so good. I fell in love with it immediately. Um, I like that sort of dystopian, like everything's bleak, post-apocalyptic vibes in my metal. Um, and this was just it did that. It's it's hard to describe. I implore people to go and listen to it. And like I said, they're not very well known, but their musicality is amazing. They're really talented musicians. It's not like some basement project where they ain't got a clue what they're doing.
Mm.
It sounds amazing. They mix it amazing. Like they've just blended all these different things I've mentioned into an amazing album.
Yeah.
It's got purple album art and it's my favorite color. So yeah, I really would love people to go and check this out. Um, I feel it might be sort of a Marmite kind of album for some people.
Yeah.
I love it. I genuinely love it. Like I said, it's my favorite album of this entire year. But I can understand that some people might be like, Faye, what the hell? But it's genuinely amazing. So Dissentient with uh,
Sentient.
with Labyrinth.
Cool. Yeah, I've never heard that one.
Yeah,
I've never heard of them.
it's so good. Like they've only got 118 Spotify
Yeah,
followers.
of course. Yeah.
So
I'm not one
Not
of the 100
Spotify is
million.
everything, but those numbers are important. So yeah,
Yeah,
please go and listen to everyone. It's so good.
that's cool.
Yeah. So one more
Um,
from you.
I'm gonna go for again. Um, Surprise, surprise, it's like black thrash. A band called Phantom Fire.
Yeah,
Um,
I've heard of that. Yeah.
yeah, the the album is called Eminent Lucifer Libertad or Eminente Lucifer Libertad.
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing anything right, and apologies for my horrible Scottish accent. Whatever. But yeah, again, not much else to describe it. Just good songs, absolute riffs everywhere. If you look at the cover art, it's like, you know, these old school, like simple. I would compare it to like, if anyone's familiar with like Death Hammer's cover art, you know, where it's not super detailed, not, you know, it's very 80s, like hand drawn
Mm.
kind of stuff. It kind of uh puts you in the mood for what you're about to hear. Just yeah, balls to the wall thrash. I think the album is like a half an hour long or something, you know, which is always good in this style of music. When you're, you know, going that way, like unless you're um trying to like expand and do like uh infuse like different genres and stuff. I think black thrash and this kind of music is very well suited to an album, a run time of around half an hour, give or take a few minutes.
Mm.
Um, so it's like it's just perfect, balls to the wall. You know, all the songs are like 2-3 minutes long, or most of the songs are like 2-3 minutes long. Yeah, riffs, balls to the wall, aggressive. Um, Again, I think it's Norwegian. Yeah, Norwegian. Um, yeah, thrash. So yeah, like I say, like I mentioned before with the Inculture album, that whole Norwegian kind of thrash scene with them and Necromantheon and Death Hammer and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just a style of music that I really like, where it's just just aggressive, evil, fast. um, yeah, just straight to the point.
Awesome. That's what you want from that kind of music, though. It's not,
Mhm.
you just want it to just hit you in the face
Yeah,
with like you say, riffs.
yeah, exactly.
Mm. Amazing. Um, so just quickly before we round things off, where can we see Hellripper in the next few months if we want to come see you guys live?
We'll be doing a tour, a European tour all over Europe, of course, all over the place, with Abath and Toxic Holocaust in January and February. So yeah, you can check out the dates on our social medias and stuff like that. But yeah, Germany, France, Italy, Denmark, Sweden, Netherlands, Spain, yeah, just everywhere. It's like a month of shows. And then yeah, we're going to be coming back to Europe in the summer again for festivals and some um like club shows, you know.
Hmm.
Nothing's been announced yet though regarding that, other than a couple of festivals. Yeah. We'll be doing Bloodstock in the UK in summer. Um, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that just hasn't been announced or hasn't been confirmed and stuff. But yeah, the closest, the nearest you can see us is probably the Abath Toxic Holocaust tour. Um, and yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, we'll get over to the US eventually. People people keep asking, but we'll get over there eventually. Um, yeah,
The way you guys are going, like growing and just, well, I say you guys, it's you essentially. I mean, I know you have touring musicians and everything, but it's you. The way that Hellriver has grown and is just progressing, I don't think people in America have to worry. You'll be there soon,
yeah, yeah. It's crazy.
dominating.
Yeah, it's crazy to see the band growing. Yeah, and thanks to
Mhm.
people like yourself for taking an interest in the
Absolutely.
band. Um, Oh, could I do some like honorable mention things?
Absolutely. Crack on.
Um, I'll just like list them. So of course there's Celestial Sanctuary. I wanted to mention them. A band called Phantom. Not the Phantom Fire that I just spoke about, but Phantom. Um, they're just kind of more thrash metal, less of the black metal.
Mhm.
I'm a big fan of Overkill. The latest Hives album was amazing. I
Mhm.
didn't want to include that was one of my favorites. I didn't want to include that in my list because it's not metal. But yeah, the latest Hives. What else is there? There's Sadistic Force, Black Knife, Grave Pleasures, Green Lung, Cannibal Corpse. And I want to give a couple special mentions to VHS and Pissed. I didn't include them in my list because I'm on those albums. I I'd done some like guest vocals on a song or whatever, and I thought it would be a bit um biased or whatever to stick something that I'm on. So
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah, VHS and Piss, they released albums. Yeah.
Awesome. I think that's the same reason I haven't included any Redefining Darkness releases in my top 20 because it's
Yeah.
like I do PR for them and it's like I've also if I'd have about six in there, so I just thought, nah, I'm not gonna do that because people won't take it seriously.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's why I mean, yeah, a lot of the bands on my list and stuff that I like, obviously either I've met them or like, I'm like or like spoke with them and stuff. So
Mm.
or like yeah. So I don't yeah. None of my list is biased. It's just that I like the albums and they happen to be nice people.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much for using like spending some time with me and nerding out about metal. And I really hope people listening got some good recommendations and tag us and comment and let us know what you think. So thank you very much, James, for your time.
Thank you, and don't forget to call us posers for not including your pick. Or
Oh yeah. So yeah, thank you so much. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
thank you very much, and same to you too.
Thank you very much.